My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine. Happy All Hallows Eve. Many of you may know this day as Halloween. It always has been, always will be my favorite holiday, but it is also a day of spiritual significance to me. So what is All Hallows Eve? What is Halloween? And why do we dress up in these fun costumes? I mean, you may have also enjoyed spookiness and ghost. The good Lord knows I got a ton of ghost in my hair, as I often say. So, I've been, I guess, on this spooky path for a long time. Well, All Hallows Eve is really seen as the day of the year for those that were following paganism or chose to keep that as a part of the matrix of opportunity that's available for two-leggeds down here. Certainly know a lot of those people were brutally murdered. However, for those that remain and practice paganism, paganism is kind of like an umbrella term, like you might say divination, and under divination you might have tarot, you might have runes, you might have divining rods. In the same vein, paganism has many different facets and roots that fall under it. And so from those, you might be a witch, you might be a Wiccan, you might hold specific labels. Witches can even define themselves even further, like I'm a cosmic witch or a kitchen witch or things of that nature. And if all of these things interest you, do continue to follow Heather Feather, because it is my intent. If you've ever wanted to go to Hogwarts, I will be the maker of that. It is my destiny to make a magical college, and I intend to cause it to be accredited before I exit this flesh costume, rot off this bone, and become a ghost myself. But it's seen All Hallows Eve as the day that the veil is the thinnest. The veil is really thin right now. What does that mean? It means that the density of our physicality and the lightning fast speed of spirit and the spirit realm, they merge into a plane to where they're vibing at a similar rhythm. So we speed up and they slow down and the veil becomes thin and it becomes more apparent. There would be more opportunity to witness ghosts or to see spirits. A beautiful evening, a wonderful evening to acknowledge your ancestors. If you've had any ancestors that have crossed over, for me, my mom and dad would definitely be that. Love my mom. She was an amazing spiritual woman, phenomenal human, and I pray every day to be more like her. And my father I didn't get to know, but he was a super cool organic farmer, really concerned about fuel cell technology and being green, and just did a lot of cool things for someone in the 70s. And my Nana, my great-grandmother, was one of my all-time favorite people. All of those people crossed at a relatively young age for me, especially Nana and Daddy. So they've been over there in the spirit realm for a while. Mom's been there since I was 24. So tonight would be a great night to make an altar, to make a presence in my home. Oftentimes people will light a candle and set it in the window as a way or a means to acknowledge their ancestors' home and to acknowledge those spirits to come back home, come see me, come say hi to me, come spook me, boo! Come get up in this house, I miss you. In that same vein, because the veil is thin, there are many spirits that are out. And as someone who's had a lot of ghosts in her hair, I can tell you, there are, houses I've gone to see where I've seen, spirits hanging in the closet. It's like, there's a man in the 20s or 30s that hung himself in here. And, like I was just on a Texas farm, I had a ghost touch my shoulder. So because I am a psychopomp and because I do work with the dead, there often feels like an invitation from spirits to be like, hey, lady. And it's like, I'm not doing tea party right now, y'all. I'm just trying to hang out in a Texas farm. I don't know you, ghost. So, it's funny because we can be kind of attached to like, stranger danger. Oh, bye. But that's why we wear our Halloween costumes. It's a way, if there are any spirits that have been trying to get you, trying to trick you, trying to be a walk-in and step into your vessel and move your meat sack around for you, so that they can speak through you to someone else. If there are any, it's a tricky time when the veil is thin and spirits are so abundantly available. If there's any that have had their eye on you or trying to mess around with you, then because you're in costume, they're not going to recognize you. So that's why we do that. We put on these costumes so that they don't recognize us. A long time ago, before we were doing jack-o'-lanterns out of pumpkins, there were many people that would make them out of turnips to be like little turnip heads all in front of your house, just like, ah, get away from me. So a lot of the concepts are really based on scaring spirits off that you don't want to engage with. And I'd like to speak to this piece for me because today is a spiritual holiday for me of honoring the spirits you do want in your life. And most importantly, speaking to those spirits. I talk to the dead more than the living. I'm always talking to the dead. I'm like, what's up, Mom? Look at this. Isn't this crazy? I know you'd love this stuff. It's got little flowers all over it. You know what I mean? I'm talking when I'm painting. My dad, talking to him all the time. He's like, why are you sitting so uncomfortable? I'm like, I don't know. It's crazy, isn't it? And I've even, through the many Akashic records I've had in the past year, they're like, you are talking to spirits a lot. You're super plugged into the spirit realm. I'm like, I know. Tell me about it. But that's because I engage that practice. So if you want to learn to play the guitar, you're going to need to engage with the guitar and you're going to need to play on it. And you're going to need to do it as often as possible if you want to get good at it. You can't take a guitar and set it in your closet and then once a year pull it out and expect to be very prolific in what you create with a thing called guitar. Same with painting. You can't put away your paints and your paintbrushes and let them sit upon a shelf and dry out. If you want to be an artist and you want to be a painter, anyone that is plugging away at this thing called art, to me is an artist. If you're putting devoted attention in it, great. To me, you're a musician. If you're putting devoted attention, you may not be from your perspective and vantage point at that future where you're a phenomenal, talented artist and guitar player, but time is an illusion. So anything we apply our attention to, we become. So, on a lot of levels out of necessity, because I wasn't ready to let go of my dead people, I really focused up on being able to connect with them, being able to commune with them. They're funny. They're funny. They do operate at a faster speed, so they have a tendency to snickle fritz around with technology, and they can do it in ways that can really like, what? My brother actually had an unplugged printer print a sheet of paper with a little heart on it after my mom died, and he was like, what is this? Why is this heart? And he looked, and the printer was unplugged. It's like, okay, that's regular. Describe that, physics. Why did that happen? It was unplugged. So it's like they can really come through for you if and sometimes if you're really struggling. But a lot of the ways that they come through for you is playing a certain song on the radio or, having you choose to connect to, let me put my music on shuffle. And then boom, the song that plays is something that they're wanting to say to you if you'll but listen. And I really try to receive them in a variety of ways. My mom's in the last Akashic Records, she knows how much I'm always like, Mom, what's up? Mom, hey girl. So, they said like your mom is really trying to, she's communicating to you through tarot cards, through music and through numerology, but she's starting to kind of pull back because I have a big project of making a magical college. And she's like, you're gonna rat off the bone and be with her in a second. Just focus up. So she's still mothering me. Thank you, Mom. So I'm going to look for ways this evening to connect with the dead. Of course, it cost $4.20. Hilarious. I just bought this beautiful Raven drum. Of course, I have my Snowy Owl drum that I use for my classes. But I work with shadow and light in the sense that I work with shadow integration because light is the answer and I work for Divine Mind. So I have this now the shadow drum, and I bought it just before Samhain because it's a spiritual holiday. And so this is going to become my sacred instrument that I bought at a time when the Belas then to be able to get in there with the power of the four winds to remove and cleanse a vessel of that which is unwanted. Tonight I'll also be working with my grimoire or book of shadows. Those terms used to be separated out a little bit, whereas a grimoire could really mean like a witch's journal. So you might journal like, noticed we had frost this October. Last year it didn't come until late November. And you might make a lot of notes about what you're doing in your magical gardens. And a book of shadows. Now, grimoire and book of shadows are interchangeable. They both usually just mean a book in which you're going to write all your spells, all your magic, how to make a talisman, so that you can make talismans or objects that you wear that have sacred symbology and sacred meaning. Sacred Protectors, I bought this beautiful, beautiful book in Sedona, and it's quite massive, as you can see. And so I will be making a very large Book of Shadows grimoire, a very beautiful one, and it will live in the main office at the magical college that I'm creating, and it will have my life's work with magic in it. I was well blessed to get to go to a Temazcal. A Temazcal, if you don't know, is from Mexico. It's a sweat lodge experience, and that's just the name that they would use in Mexico. And I had the opportunity to go, and the gentleman that was drumming for the group that night, wise medicine man, and he started speaking to going to visit an angel. So for me, that was Archangel Michael. I've had a beautiful relationship with Archangel Michael. I always see him about 14 feet tall with a blue flaming sword of truth. And he helps to cast out any shadow. If I start to get in a fear-based consciousness, I call him in, and he stands right behind me with this blue flaming sword of truth and casts out any idea of separation that the mind might want to hold. But he had us go to where Archangel Michael lives. He had us go to where that angel lives, and he said that there was a book on the table, and that book was specifically for us and for our soul, and to pick up the book. So if you're in a sweat lodge, it can be very similar to a shamanic journey. You might have an astral travel out-of-body experience in which you traverse other realms or go to other planes. Angelic seraphim is usually described as being an upper world. And I was in a space, and there was a table, and there were all these books. And the book that I was handed was the Book of Magic and Mysticism, because that is my life's work. What I will do is create a magical accredited college, and then I'll get to be a ghost, and maybe I'll come scare you. Boo! Boo! Happy Halloween! I hope so. That's so fun. The reason I'm saying all of this is because magic is a natural thing. Magic is a natural thing. It's a natural part of our world, you know. And if you grew up in Scotland or in Ireland or in England, you know, where there are many fairy gardens, and if you were to go tell certain people, certain more common folk that might be out in a farmer, and you're going to go tell them there's no fairies, they'd be like, what kind of fool farm did you fall off of? You know what I mean? Because the Fae have been around and have been a part of their culture forever. So the concept of elemental spirits like wood elves, gnomes, Fae, fairy, all of that, you know, we tend to be very indoctrinated into Newtonian mechanistic thinking and into like everything is like a machine and there is no mysticism. And we've all been wired that way. And since quantum mechanics has really come onto the scene full steam, you know, actually everything's made of emptiness, which is obeying the dictates of your consciousness. That's what's actually going on. And most of us, we haven't had any upgrade to our inner system to recognize the freedom that we have to create anything that we want in this realm as the dictator of the quantum field. We tell the probability waves what particles to become. We're doing it all the time. And then getting mad at creation. Maybe tell a different story. So we have this wonderful quality of the creative power of mind, but something that never got lost in the timeline, no matter how many women they tried to burn and murder, is that magic is a natural quality of life. It is a natural experience, and you are entitled to magic, and you are entitled to mysticism. And it is not now, nor will it ever be evil. It is sacred, it is holy, and it is a spiritual gift. And if you choose it, then place your attention upon it, intend it. I just wanted to invite and invoke all of you with me this eve to set up an altar for anyone that's crossed over that you love, that your heart and your mind, that the quantum light of your consciousness tends to go back in time to visit them, just to invite them in right here, right now, today, to say, hey, I love you. I think of you often. And to really open that doorway and that relationship between you and the spirits you want to commune with. They are available to you. They always have been. They're just not in their flesh costume. Certainly I miss my mom's freckles, but I delight in the conversations we still have. Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you have a splendid, magical, mystical evening. Blessed be.